Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cali Vale channel. Thanks for checking it out, subscribing, and just being cool and enjoying the content. Now, ever since I've been taking a peep on these videos, I've been getting a lot of, AI algorithm buildups of other, Asian channels and everything, what's going on in Asian countries, but primarily China is pretty interesting. Korea as well, and Japan as well, but we're going to focus on the first batch of leftover women in this generation. And these women are like 40 plus and up. So let's check out what's going on.
Recently, an online report mentioned that the first batch of so-called older leftover women in Fujian have now moved into nursing homes. According to interviews, these elderly women said that their biggest regret in life is not having left behind descendants who could be there to accompany them in their old age. Their greatest wish is for someone to visit them regularly. In the past, they believed they had enough to be proud of and approached marriage with a mindset of better single than settle, always in pursuit of true love. However, time is ruthless. Year after year, time quietly slipped away, and they gradually entered old age. Now they can only live simple, monotonous lives in nursing homes, repeating the cycle of eating and sleeping every day. Among themselves, these elderly women often share their life reflections and talk about the choices they made in the past. But what truly frightens them is not the monotonous life in the nursing home, but the frequent sight of their old friends passing.
I think I see the tears in her eyes though. Real watery, like right here. So I'm gonna call this the eyes of regret. That's what I'm gonna call this. And this is not even being funny. Now see, understand that most homeless people, because you remember I was talking about a lot of the homeless issues in America. Well, there's a large homeless issue over there in China too. And a lot of it over there is with the youth as well as, the boomers. Now, see, over here in America, it's mostly the boomers that are that are facing the most homeless. Out on the streets, it's mostly boomers. These are divorced people that have mental issues, drug issues, but this is pretty much where it's leading to. So if these women keep having this attitude, there's going to be more homeless women now.
Away, one by one. They increasingly long for family members to be by their side, accompanying them on the last leg of their life journey. Some have even expressed that, no matter the cost, they hope to adopt godsons or goddaughters to fill the emotional void deep in their hearts. Even if there is a risk of being deceived, they are willing to take that chance. So, I want to warn all the older single women out there to be cautious. If you meet someone suitable, you should cherish them as soon as possible, and not be overly picky, because time waits for no one, and marriage and family may bring the companionship and comfort that one needs in old age.
第一批终身未嫁的女生现在都怎么样了呢？
The first batch of women who never married in China, how are they doing now? It's said that the first batch of lifelong unmarried women has already moved into nursing homes. These women once enjoyed freedom and independent lives in their youth, choosing to spend half of their lives single. So as time passed, do they regret their decisions?
Yes. Now see, here's the thing. Because see, now, being that in this generation, people have more access and options, financial options to go to college and do real well in their younger years. So that gives them a mindset, I guess I don't have to get married and just live the YOLO life because I have all this money, I'm doing well, I'm gonna invest my money smart and do everything. But the thing is, okay, it's good to have cars and houses and investments and everything, but who are you gonna pass that on to if you're the youngest, part of the youngest in your generation of your family, and your grandparents and everybody pass on and you have no children to leave it to? It all goes back to collections, right? So that's one thing you need to look at.
A reporter once interviewed one of these women. In her youth, she was a campus beauty, with outstanding looks and a confident personality. She took out a photo of herself from her younger days and showed it to the reporter, reminiscing. Back then, I had high expectations and always felt that no man was good enough for me. When I went on blind dates, not a single person caught my eye. As a result, she didn't rush into marriage and instead lived the life she wanted. She continued, "At the time, I thought being single was quite carefree. I felt it didn't matter if I had a man or not. I could buy a car and a house on my own. However, as time went on, certain voids began to appear in her life. She realized that no amount of money could fill the role a man might have played in her life. She recalled that in her earlier years, many of her friends had also chosen to remain single, but as time passed, one by one, they got married and had children, while she remained alone, never having started a family. During the peak of her career, the busyness of work allowed her to overlook this loneliness, and she even enjoyed the peace that came with it.
And see, keeping busy is key. So there's nothing wrong with people that don't want to start families or not get married, but you just have to face the consequences later on and just find other things to do in life that'll keep you busy from not regretting those things. Because you're always going to come across a large group of people that did start families and everything and you didn't. And then they'll ask, why are you still single? How come you don't have any kids? And this is usually people that don't want to go around their relatives that they haven't seen in a long time. This is why people stop going around their family, because they don't like being interrogated and asked why they didn't do this and do that and being compared to other people. And see, that's another thing. Some of these women were belittled when they were in relationships. Maybe there was a time when they thought about getting married, but the person they were with were belittling them. So, I mean, everybody's different, so it can't be the same reason for everybody.
However, when she moved into the nursing home, she often saw the elderly around her gradually passing away. What hurt her the most was when other elderly people had relatives and children visiting them, while she had to face solitude alone. She admitted, "At this stage, I realize how wonderful it would be to have family around. But now, it's too late to understand that." Her words are thought-provoking. For those young women in their 20s and 30s who are firmly determined not to get married, are you truly prepared to walk through life alone?
今天被一篇很心酸的报道狠狠教育了。
Today, I came across a heartbreaking report that deeply moved me. The article mentioned that the first batch of older leftover women in China have now moved into nursing homes. They regret not having left behind offspring. Now they can only chat every day in the nursing home with a group of elderly people, discussing the trivialities of life. What's even more terrifying is that they often witness those around them passing away one after another.
So that reminds me, during the pandemic, I didn't get a break. While everybody was at home sitting on their ass, getting the free government money that everybody thought was free and it wasn't, I was watching people die alone. I mean, because see, check this out. Because see, when people die in the hospital, usually you reach out to the family to see who wants to collect the belongings and everything. And somebody has to sign off on that body. When a patient passes away in the hospital, somebody has to sign off on that body. So there's times to where sometimes they have to just, sign off saying there was nobody available to sign for the body. So it's like, okay, some of these people had lots of family, but they couldn't come into the hospital because of the policy that was changed because of the spread of COVID. So a lot of people died alone on these hospital beds because of COVID, the shutdown. These people had full families, but they couldn't see them before their last breaths of air. Because what I'm saying is, nothing's guaranteed. You might have started a family, had a devoted wife, kids that loved you, but then in your final moments, you didn't see them. And you still died alone. It's sad. I mean, I had to take the paperwork outside the hospital for families to sign off on their loved ones' remains. It's pretty sad. So you never know. It's like you could have it all and still die alone.
In the limited time they have left, these aunties really hope to have a few godsons or goddaughters to fill the emptiness in their hearts. They would spend any amount of money. Even if they get scammed, it doesn't matter. Reading such a report made me feel a wave of sadness. Thinking about my own situation of being 45 years old, unmarried, and without a boyfriend, my heart always feels a bit heavy. I have truly started to fear the future, and I don't know what to do.
我是一个47岁的孙女，这个年龄真的是很老了。
I am a 47-year-old leftover woman. At this age, I truly feel old. But I want to ask, is there anything wrong with being unmarried? Is it a crime, or am I infringing upon others? In nearly 20 years of being a leftover woman, I have experienced countless hardships and challenges. The stories of this time could easily fill 2 books. Throughout this period, I have endured significant psychological pressure, especially in my hometown, where traditional views feel increasingly oppressive. To avoid gossip from neighbors and relatives, I once considered hastily finding someone to marry, but at the same time, I cannot enter into marriage with someone I do not love. Over the years of confusion, I have gone through much pain and sleepless nights. Until today, I have finally understood that although I am unmarried, it does not mean I have any moral issues.
No,
it does
you
not
don't.
hinder my filial piety, kindness, or thoughtfulness. I admire beauty, and it is precisely because of my kindness and pursuit of an ideal life that I feel out of place in this reality. I hope to find that pure green leaf, a partner who resonates with my innermost self. But such a soulmate is as rare as finding a needle in a haystack. The odds are almost negligible, and throughout history, few have achieved this. Perhaps it's just my bad luck, but during this time, I have pursued diligently and have few regrets. I consider myself a transcendent person, yet sometimes I am not carefree enough. During this long wait, I have met several potential men, but misunderstandings caused us to miss opportunities. Now I can calmly accept whatever life brings me. Whether I walk on the sunny path or the narrow bridge, it is my choice. I understand that I should now have the courage to bear the consequences and not blame the heavens or others. At the same time, I need to correctly face my inner self, analyze myself, and seek answers. My singleness is not due to a lack of understanding or willingness to support men. On the contrary, I can do everything and am willing to do it, provided I can meet someone with mutual attraction and good communication. Everyone has different reasons for becoming a leftover woman, but we should all maintain a positive mindset. For instance, I know I cannot find a man without prior marriage.
Okay, so the leftover woman thing. Have you noticed that in China, nobody's talking about body counts or being a single mother as much? Being a single mother was brought up a few times, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't make the situation no better. Because who wants to be around somebody else's child, right? But see, in America, that's looked down upon towards the men. Men that don't want to deal with single mothers are looked down upon. The man is automatically expected to pick up after another man, play another man's saved game. And it's like, that's not fair. We're supposed to be on our P's and Q's, and we just to settle for somebody else's leftovers. But see, mind you, these leftover women in China are still in shape. They're not going sideways, Goodyear blimp and everything, versus what we're used to seeing in America. Because most women in America are over 30 and obese, right? So it doesn't matter if she's leftovers or not. She's just too big and we don't want to deal with her, right? But see, this is different. This is different. Because all these women still have potential to find a partner. They're just going to have to lower their expectations, which they refuse to do. So it'll be harder for them to find somebody because they still think that they have the options from when they were 25 to what they do now, and they're almost 50. And it's like, well, a lot of these other guys were already married and divorced and had children, and you didn't do anything yet. All you had was your career and your crappy Mercedes 300 C series and some shithole house. But let's go.
Experience. If he is suitable in all aspects and has children, I can accept it and be willing to love him along with his children, which can lead to a happy family. In the future, if given the chance, I would be willing to invest a lot in my partner, using my maturity and wisdom to manage a family. I believe that at this age, we are all thoroughly mature and are no longer the same selves we used to be. Each person's criteria for choosing a partner will adjust with life changes. Regardless of whether I meet someone willing to marry or not, maintaining inner peace is the most important thing. We should discover the beauty of life that we overlooked during our busy times and cherish the bond with our parents. Living well alone is also possible. I can enjoy good food and make the most of each day. Even if I cannot make my parents happy through marriage, I can still repay them in other ways. This year, both my 98-year-old grandmother and my 90-year-old great-grandmother passed away in the same year, which has led me to reflect on the importance of personal happiness while also being responsible to my parents. Now, their happiness and joy are equally important to me. If I cannot make them happy through marriage, then I must repay them in other ways. Thus, I have decided to move back to my parents' small town.
And see, that's another thing. See, we don't do that here in America. We don't go into marriages just to make our families happy. We could give a shit less, right? So the culture is different over there in China because, you know, it's like that in most other cultures outside of America. Families are real strong and they have a cultural bond to marry, procreate, and keep the bloodlines going, right? But see, now all you hear about is me, 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 me. It's all about you, right? But then when you get about 50, you're trying to either have your own kid or you're trying to adopt a kid and create a family. Create a family that you couldn't create when you was younger. And dogs aren't going to get it. I'm sorry.
Cooking for them every day, taking them traveling, and spending as much time with them as possible. This decision fills me with a sense of fulfillment. The meaning of life lies not only in pursuing my own happiness, but also in my responsibility and gratitude to my parents.
82年42岁大龄生奶
I was born in 1982, and I'm 42 years old. I truly feel like I've become a leftover grandma. I sincerely advise everyone to get married as soon as possible. Otherwise, living a life like mine is truly tragic. My living expenses are low, and I don't need to save for a child's future.
No, you don't. Sorry, I'm trying to eat this piece of chocolate before it gets too late. A lot of these women could get away and lie with their age. Because, you know, a lot of people lie about their age when you're getting to know them. So she'll tell you she's 35 when really she's 45. And you had no idea because look at her skin. These people have some good hygiene, by the way. In most Asian cultures, they do. You could be talking to a 50-year-old Asian woman and you wouldn't know it unless she really told you. Her hair could be healthy and thick and everything. Doesn't mean nothing.
The money I earn is just enough for myself, and I can't spend it all alone. There's no noise from children, no arguments between spouses, just me alone in an empty house.
No fuss,
feeling
no fights.
lonely to the point of suffocation. It's really sad. On weekends, I don't need to take children to classes, nor do I have to wake up early to prepare breakfast for my husband. That big 2-meter bed is only for me, allowing me to wake up quietly whenever I want. It's so sad. I have almost no friends and no social activities in my life. So on weekends I can only stay home alone, feeling miserable as I binge-watch shows, cook, and read. If I don't want to cook, the only option is to order takeout. This kind of life is truly miserable, and I don't know how much longer it will last. As a leftover grandma, I sincerely hope someone understands the loneliness of single life. It really is tragic. I look forward to meeting a suitable man this year.
身材匀称，长相也还过得去，是家里
Michael Jackson's lost daughter? Wow. The eyes and
的
everything.
独生女。
Hello everyone, I am 43 years old and have never been married. Looking back at my youth, I had a well-proportioned figure and was quite good-looking. Being the only child in the family, I want to share some advice from my personal experiences with those girls who never planned to get married. When I was young, I had a decent job and was considered a small leader in my company. I had many advantages in various aspects. Many of my friends got married, but many experienced divorce and often revealed fear when discussing marriage. Gradually, I developed the idea that being alone is so free, and that not marrying or having children could help me escape many troubles in life. From my 20s, my family urged me to marry every time we met or during holidays. At first, I responded by saying I was still young, but over time I became more assertive. Every time they pressed me about marriage, I strongly opposed it, even to the point of not wanting to go home. As time passed, they stopped pressuring me. However, a few years ago, my parents passed away, and they never saw me get married in their lifetime, which inevitably left them with regrets. Since then, I have been alone, and I slowly began to feel lost, deeply pondering whether my choice to remain unmarried was right or wrong. In my youth, I was independent and strong, never relying on anyone. I remember when I first came to Guangzhou to work hard. Loneliness was my companion, but that kind of loneliness was just a temporary boredom. Now, however, the loneliness fills me with fear, because no matter what problems I encounter, I am still alone. Now I realize that my decision to remain unmarried and childless in my youth was not because I was particularly independent or strong, but because, with my parents by my side, I enjoyed my youth's freedom. However, as time passes, this choice has left me facing loneliness and helplessness in middle age. The beautiful things in life often can only be seen on TV, while in reality, although I have savings and social security pensions, what I fear most is solitude. Now I hear some young girls say that living alone is so free that they can do whatever they want, earn their...
That's the YOLO life. You only live once, so they're going to do everything that they want to do without being told to do, right? I mean, having money is good, but it's just a tool. Having money is not going to solve every problem. That's what people with no money think. You go from not having money to having money and being successful, so you feel bulletproof and you'll never have any problems again because you have money. But the problem is with money is that doesn't stop your loved ones from passing away. It's like you have all the money in the world, you can't prevent them from their expiration date, sadly. But people don't realize this until they get to that stage.
Their own money and spend it however they like. I want to tell them, you are too naive. As someone who has been through this, I know how painful it is to live alone at this age. After my parents passed away, I fell seriously ill. During my hospital stay, I couldn't do anything. I even had to find friends to help me sign the surgery forms.
And see, there was a study done too, that most married people that are married, their survival after a recovery from a surgery, it's more highly that the person will survive if they're married. But they didn't say that if that was a good marriage or a bad marriage. But married couples, if one of them needs surgery, they're twice to survive versus being single and alone.
But friends also have their own families, and in the end, I had to hire caregivers. However, many problems cannot be solved with money. Although my health is okay now, I cannot imagine how I will face life when I get older, become immobile, or even develop dementia.
Oh boy.
I have considered going to a nursing home, but with my savings, I could only afford it until I am about 75 if my health is good. Going to a nursing home is just waiting for the end, and I really don't want to spend my later years like that. Now I am alone at home, filled with fear, with no one to talk to. The only companion I have is my pet dog, and I am also afraid of the day when this little dog will leave me. I sincerely advise those young girls who do not want to marry to at least choose to have a partner or children. Never think that having money can solve everything.
That's a big one. Money's not everything, but not having it is. Even Kanye West said that. It's nice to have money, but unfortunately it won't solve all our problems. Money only buys you material things and convenience. That won't solve a person's misery. They'll be happy that they have money, and they'll be happy that they don't have to wake up in the morning and work some job that they don't want to be at. But at the same time, it's wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. Like this woman. She's alone in her 40s. Every day she wakes up, she doesn't know what to do. What's next?
You will understand this when you grow old. I truly regret not spending enough time with my parents, and I wish I had cherished the days spent together. For those who are being urged to marry, please do not argue with your parents or refuse to go home like I did, because parents are the ones who love you the most in this world. One day, you will regret the impulsiveness of your youth and wish you had listened to your parents.
81年的，今年43岁，还未婚未育。
I was born in 1981, and I am 43 years old this year. I am still unmarried and
Not to get off subject, but have you noticed that these single women be having the nicest couches? Just having a nice clean. I'm assuming it's an apartment, because why would you have this big ass house if it's just you and you never want to have this, and that, right? Anyway.
childless. I would like to know how many women of my age in China share similar experiences. All along, I have been living alone, without getting married or having children. I am curious about whether there are men in similar situations as well.
Oh.
Over the years of living alone, I seem to have grown accustomed to this lifestyle. However, some friends and relatives often mention that I should consider having a child or finding a partner to get married. Hearing this makes me feel like it might be too late. After all, I will soon be 44, and I really do not want to have children anymore. Furthermore, the difficulties of raising a child make me feel overwhelmed. If I choose not to have children, then marriage seems to have no substantial meaning for me. After all, why would someone marry me? Is it just to take care of me in my old age? This does not seem feasible in reality, and it wouldn't be fair to the man either.
And see, about that, to take care of you when you get older, when you get old, and you're less independent, the problem with that is if you started a family and had kids because you was worried about who's going to take care of you when you get old, there's no guarantee that your children will even be around to take care of you if you even make it to be old and be less independent. Suppose your offspring passed away before you. Suppose your spouse left you and took the kids, turned the kids against you. Years go by, you get married again, and that spouse leaves you too, and you're alone. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this could go so many ways. So don't feel that just because you didn't have kids and didn't get married, now you have to worry about who's going to take care of you when you get older. Well, if you did have kids and got married when you were younger, there's no guarantee that they were going to be of age and then say, we're going to put our lives at a halt just to take care of you. Suppose your offspring goes off to the army and they're overseas and everything. They're supposed to drop everything and come back to take care of you. That's kind of selfish. But anyway.
Therefore, I would like to know how many people born in 1981 in China are still unmarried or childless. What are their current living conditions like? I live in Hubei, and I send my best wishes to all my unmarried friends born in the 1980s, hoping everyone is doing well.
Today, I encountered an older single woman at the marriage agency opened by my friend. She actually had an argument with my friend. Truly, she is living up to the reputation of an older single woman. I'm really impressed. This woman is 36 years old this year. She lives in Beijing, has a bachelor's degree, stands 170 centimeters tall, owns 2 apartments, has a car, and earns over 10,000 yuan a month working in a government job. Although her conditions seem good, my friend thinks her shortcomings are too obvious. Her age is a problem. As soon as my friend mentioned her age, she immediately interrupted us, stating that she doesn't have high requirements. She knows she's not young anymore and doesn't want to pursue high asset men, feeling that she doesn't have the capability to provide emotional value. She just hopes to find a man who is somewhat similar to her. Her partner preferences are preferably a local Beijing man, where neither of them is expecting anything from the other. She has what the man has. The partner should have at least a bachelor's degree and a height of over 178 centimeters, because she claims to own 2 apartments. Therefore, the man should have at least 2 apartments as well.
Oh my God.
Her only requirement is that his income...
And see, I'm noticing the pattern the more I watch these videos, that these women require that the men have at least what they have or more. So they're looking for superiors. And it's the same back here in the States. Instead of building with somebody, they want somebody that's already at the finish line and going to the next level. It doesn't make a difference what her career is. She wants somebody that's better than her. Not better, but she wants somebody that's above her. So I understand the algorithm right away. And I've noticed in China, having a college degree is a big deal. So they're not considering anybody with a high school degree or no degree at all. So I guess that's a big one over there. See, in America, that's not much of a problem. See, in America, it's more about status, social status. Social status, then money, then everything else comes around. But at least in America, you have more of a chance if you're all about status. You're big on Instagram and all that. But let's go.
Income should be twice hers, as she doesn't want to struggle to support the family after marriage. Otherwise, she would look down on the man. She also mentioned that the man should ideally be somewhat good looking, because she places importance on first impressions. Despite her straightforward personality and ability to express her thoughts directly, my friend believes her demands are still a bit high. So my friend told her that such requirements may be hard to fulfill.
And also another thing that I haven't heard yet is he can't be living at home with his parents. That's a big one here in America. That's a big one. Living at home with your parents, which most people do throughout their 30s and even 40s, because who wants to pay $2,500 a month just for a one-bedroom apartment, right?
Fulfill, especially in Beijing. The choices for local men are vast, and there are many out-of-town women working here, making the competition very fierce. Those men who own 2 or more properties, are over 178 centimeters tall, earn more than 30,000 yuan a month, and are somewhat good-looking, are in high demand on the matchmaking market, with many women aged 25 to 35 queuing up for them. She asked my friend what advantages she has compared to these women. She then asked my friend how she could adjust her conditions to find a suitable partner more easily. We suggested that she might consider relaxing her age and geographic limitations, and if a man can afford the down payment for a house in Beijing, that would be good enough.
Have you noticed this all amounts out to prostitution? You have to pay all these dowries and everything for the woman if you want to marry her. Yeah. You gotta spend all this money just to do the bare minimum. And basically, if you don't have any money, you ain't getting none of these girls. So women are never free, not even in America, let alone a divorce. So what I like is, in China, there's no 50-50. No matter if she's a lawyer, a doctor, the man is still expected to do everything. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up right here. This is Kai Lavelle. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. And of course, I have more on the torch. But I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Thank you.